the Mayor of Wairoa, Craig Little, and he joins us now. Craig, lovely to have you on. Good morning to you.
Morning. How are you, Michael?
I'm very well. Craig, let's first of all talk about the gangs and then we'll talk about the regional council. And I suppose for both of you, they're probably about in the same subset, are they?
Well, yeah. Well, probably one's not quite as bad as the other, but yeah, it caused a lot of grief for our town, that's for sure.
All right. Now, Craig, first of all, let's go to the gang legislation that got passed last week. It's part of a suite of anti-gang legislation that not just this government, but the first government dealt with as well. Can I talk to you about gang insignia first? If I was to go to Wairoa and I was to live there, would I be conscious of the fact that gangs are active in your town?
Oh, there's no doubt you see them walking around with their patches on and things like that. And it's mainly in Wairoa, to be quite honest. It is intimidating for a lot of people. I get that feedback all the time. We're not happy about it. And, I think it's probably going to give the police a few more tools that they need. But there's no point, Michael, having those tools if you don't have the judicial system that will back you up.
Okay. First of all, the legislation now has been passed. It makes gang insignia or the display of such illegal. I guess you experienced at Wairoa what we experienced at Wanganui. When the gangs come to town, they clear the CBD and the retail area pretty quickly, yeah?
It's probably not that bad. We're probably a bit more tolerant in Wairoa, and I don't think we should be. But it may stop people wanting to come to Wairoa and visit us and spend their money. So we probably, it's probably a good thing, because people just don't like gang pictures.
Well, you've also had gang-on-gang confrontations too, haven't you? The Black Power versus and mongrel mob, and armed confrontations as well happening in your main street. That must cower and intimidate and frighten your local population.
Yeah, probably haven't had anything in the main street for a while, Michael, but we did have a brawl after one of the rugby games. That was a disgrace. Oh, gosh, and yes. my pledge was, gang leaders was, what did you do to stop that? And they didn't do a thing. And it shouldn't be tolerated at all.
Well, and that's the next question I'm going to ask. There used to be a sort of a leavening influence that gang leaders would have, and even there was a communication with the police and even civic leaders like you and me. That seems to be abating at the moment, Craig. That level of control that gang, I guess, leaders had over their membership seems to be declining.
Yeah, I think it is. I think they've lost that power or whatever it is. And I get so grumpy, because they tell us they're doing all these good things. We'll do it and stop them doing what they're doing if you're the leader.
All right. How often would you have gang members displaying their gang insignia and gang patches in your main street? Every day? Every week?
Yeah, it was sort of probably about 6 months ago. I was a little bit concerned. It was out of control, and walking down the main street, and quite often they don't even walk on the footpath. And the big thing is the police have come down on them, but they only had limited laws to do that. We've got a couple of areas. We don't allow them in the council chambers or the council building at all. That should just be a no-no. And now with these powers, we're probably happy with it because people don't like it, and that for some reason, the gangs speak as if they own Wairoa, or they might own Rarotonga, or they might own Frasertown. Well, you don't. You don't at all. And they need to get that out of their head. They're just, criminal activity going on behind the scenes. And that's all for me, most of the time, what they are.
Okay, and I guess what you're looking for, you must be in contact with your local police, Craig. Are you in the Hawke's Bay Police District?
No, we're actually in the Gisborne district, as it happens.
Right. So when you go to them as the mayor, and I'm sure you do, and say, listen, I need you guys to be a bit more prominent and a bit more active, what sort of response do you get from the police?
Oh, we're pretty good in Wairoa, to be quite honest. We've got a pretty full complement. At the moment, there's a few numbers down. Now, I've got to say the police, I can't complain about the police at all. They do a good job. It's a hard job. And, when that brawl broke out, it was pretty dangerous to get amongst it all for them. It was really hard. But at the end of the day, most of the violent crimes come from gangs in Wairoa. That's a statistic that you can't hide. So, if it improves that, I don't know whether it would by taking the patches off of gang members, but But we've always said, you're welcome, but your patch isn't welcome.
Yeah. Listen, the other thing that worries me though is the children of who must be coming into your schools, your Wairoa primaries, your Wairoa colleges, and things like that as well. Uh, and they must be picking up, you would expect, the mores, the values, the sort of swagger, if you like, of the parents and the community that they live as well. Is that common too?
Oh, 100%. They just, you do what your parents do quite often, and that's the biggest thing. Whilst this is probably a good law that's gone through, we've got to go right back to why these young ones coming to the gangs, and that there lies the issue. I remember I spoke to a whole lot of prospectors probably 4 years ago, and like they just I said, why are you doing it? They said, there's nothing else for us, and that's what they believe. That's what they're brought up in, and if we could stop that cycle, that part of it, we might get some real traction, and that's what needs to happen. Why are they going to gangs and not wanting to work and things like that?
Because they're not wanting to work either, you're saying. So you've got jobs there, they just don't want to do them.
Well, that's what I'm assuming. Mind you, I've got to say that a lot of the gang members are working, so probably that doesn't. But it's a lot of pressure. I know of parents that really try to steer the kids away from the gangs, but there's, it's the old, when you're a teenager, peer pressure, and it's the thing to do, I guess, when you're younger.
Where do the white kids go at Wairoa, Craig? Do they go to boarding school?
Oh, not all of them. There's sort of, there's, quite a few do. A lot of Māori kids go to, to away to school as well. But it's just, the college, I think the college needs more support. And that support needs to come from the homes of these people that are causing all the grief, and like the college. Don't blame the college. I've always said your problem starts at home, and they bring it to the school. Where a lot of these schools down Hawke's Bay can choose who they take into their schools.